Hello. Yes, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Just let me take your attendance first. हाँ जी रंजीता
Yes, ma'am.
मोहित
Present, ma'am.
कमल
Yes, ma'am.
uh, वैष्णवी
Yes, ma'am.
महिमा
Yes, ma'am.
Dave. Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Sunil, Chandrika.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Chandrika,
Yes,
Mahima,
ma'am.
Joy, Kishore.
Yes, ma'am. Present.
Okay, how many students are here? Very few. Today, comparatively, strength is very low. First, I'll take you the screenshots. Just switch on your videos for a minute. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. One minute more. Thank you so much. Now you can switch off your videos. Thank you. Okay. First of all, I would like to tell you that I have shared my PPTs, previous PPTs with RC Chandigarh, and they'll soon forward it to you, right? And today we are going to start with Unit 7. Just hold on. Today we are going to start with Unit 7, which is about center and state relations, right? Hanji, it is all about center state relations. As we are talking about educational management, now it is very important to understand that how center and state coordinates with each other, right? So first of all, introduction of this. Basically, center state relations refers to the division and coordination of roles and responsibilities between central government and its constituent units within a federal system. This dynamic is particularly significant in a country like India, where religion, uneven development, demands for autonomy, identity politics, competing political interest, caste, and race pose unique challenges. All of you are aware about all these challenges that whenever we try to make a policy or we try to implement any policy, there are so many challenges in our country. This constitution's framework for center-state relations has historically contained potential for conflict. Conflict means whenever would be any disagreement between their planning and their decisions or their point of view, there are certain chances of the potential conflicts. Next, it has been given that what was the historical perspective about this centralization and decentralization. Okay? The concentration of powers in India, particularly under British rule, is termed as centralization, where only one main person or one main authority was there in the decision making process, and everybody else has to listen, has to follow the commands given by the British rulers. This era began with the Regulatory Act of 1773 and saw the East India Company amassing administrative control, right? History has been given in your study material about the center and state relationships. Initially, there was little central oversight in education, with provincial governments forming their own policies. The Charter Act of 1833 marked a significant shift, centralizing educational administration under the Crown. So, this is very important. Charter Act maybe ask in your examination also. Now, centralization persisted until 1854, followed by a period of gradual relaxation. यानी कि पहले पूरी command, पहले पूरी authority was centralized in the hands of few rulers, but slowly and gradually some relaxations were provided in the decision making process and allocation of roles and responsibilities. Then Wood's dispatch of 1854 was very important. It reduced imperial control over the education. And by 1870, Lord Mayo's policies further decentralized power, granting more autonomy to the provincial governments. If you are being asked in the examination regarding the history, yeah, historical perspective, or you may be asked about the explain the write a detailed note on the center-state relationship. So you can start with the introduction part where you can mention a little bit of history also before elaborating the further answer. Next, it has been given that what were the major acts in India, major legislative acts and their impact also. Okay, so the very first legislative act which has its crucial impact on the economy was Government of India Act 1858. This act transferred control from East India Company to the British Crown, continuing the trend of centralization in administration. Second act was given by Mayo's decentralization, which we have just discussed. Recognizing and the challenges of a uniform system, this period saw a shift towards provincial autonomy, especially in education. Despite some centralized control, provinces began to handle their own educational policies. इसका मतलब ये है कि some sort of relaxation and some sort of authority was provided to the provinces so that they were able to take few of the major decisions. Government of India Act 1919. This act introduced a hierarchy allowing Indian ministers to oversee education, marking a significant move towards the decentralization. Education became a provincial responsibility, reducing central intervention significantly. So this Government of India Act was very crucial. 1919 में ये बनाया गया था, जिसमें majorly decentralization को recommend किया गया था. Then Government of India Act 1935. This act further clarified the division of responsibilities between the center and provinces. Education was categorized into federal and provincial subjects, aiming to balance central oversight and provincial autonomy. So this was a little bit of history given in your material. Next, we have historical perspective post-independence period. It was pre-independence period. Key legislative acts and their impacts में सबसे पहला जो आएगा that would be written about the Constitution of India. 1950 जो इंडिया का संविधान है, this constitution established a federal structure with clear list of union, state and concurrent functions. Education was primarily a state subject, but the center retained control over the specific areas such as higher education and institution of national importance. Then central intervention in education. Despite education being a state subject, significant central intervention continued through central sector. Central sector means which is fully funded and administered by the central government, central universities. Then centrally sponsored sector, that is state implemented but centrally funded schemes like Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. So there are three categories under this in the same heading: central sector, centrally sponsored sector, and centrally assisted sectors. So you must be clear about these three. Third is centrally assisted sector, means joint financial responsibility between center and the states for specific programs, right? Next, we have financial dynamics or central and state budgets. See, while education normally fell under state jurisdiction, substantial central funding flowed into the sector, often undermining the state economy. Post 1976, constitutional amendments placed education in the concurrent list. ये हम बहुत बार पढ़ चुके हैं. Despite this, the central budget for education remained smaller relative to the overall budget. So it is all about the financial factors or financial features of our budget related to the education sector, affecting the state's capacity to manage educational needs effectively. Thus, the history of education under British rule and post independence India reflects a dynamic interplay between centralization and decentralization. Legislative acts progressively shifted responsibilities, ultimately leading to a federal structure with shared but often contentious jurisdiction over the education. So this is all about the history part. Next, it has been given a little bit of history related to the federal structure and devolution of the resources. In a well-functioning federal economy, both the central and state governments have sufficient resources. However, in India, in our country, states have limited revenue sources, primarily sale tax. Major sources of our revenue are sale tax and excise duties. To address this, the Constitution provides for the devolution of resources from the center to the states, distinguishing between plans and non-plan expenditure. So there are two kinds of expenditures, one which are already planned while making policy, and few expenses are there which are non-planned, which erupts suddenly, right? The Planning Commission, a permanent non-statutory body and quasi-judiciary body, manages plan expenditure. Planning Commission would be taking care of the planned expenditure, which are already there in budget. It derives its authority by convention, making recommendations under Article 282, which are not strictly binding but generally followed due to its significant influence. Next, in contrast, the Finance Commission. Earlier we talked about Planning Commission. Now we are talking about Finance Commission. It would be managing the non-plan expenditures which are not there in the policy. Its recommendations under Article 275 are binding once approved by Parliament and the President. This dual system ensures a structured distribution of resources, with the Planning Commission addressing development needs and the Finance Commission focusing on the maintenance requirements, despite the state's limited revenue generating capabilities. Now, the next heading in your material is Education and the Constitution of India. So, there would be, I think there would be discussion of articles and provisions which has been made for the education sector in our constitution. The Constitution of India, established in 1950, it sets up a federal system of government characterized by division of powers between union and the states. This division is detailed in the seventh schedule of the Constitution, which contains three lists: union list, state list, and concurrent list. So the Union Parliament has jurisdiction over any residual subjects not covered by these three lists. Education in the Constitution. Originally, education was in state list. This has been repeated here. See, educational institutions are under the direct control of the national government. Institution for scientific or technical education of national importance. Institution funded wholly or partially by the government of India. So all these aspects of education fall under the union purview. Agencies responsible for the professional or vocational training of the teachers and promotion of special studies of research. These five major things, these five major areas fall under the heading of union list. Next, directive principles of state policy. The directive principles of state policy, found in Part 4th of the Constitution, emphasize the importance of education. They mandate that there should be free and compulsory education. All of you are very much aware about this provision, that it states for the free and compulsory education for all the children until they reach the age of 14. Next, educational interest of the weaker section. Many provisions and many articles have been designed to safeguard the rights of the minority groups, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. So promotion of educational interest of the weaker section of the society was particularly in this article. Next, central government responsibilities. What are the major responsibility of the central government? Number one, promotion and enrichment of the Hindi language to establish it as the medium of expression for all the Indians. For this purpose, to enrich Hindi language, many efforts or many initiatives are promoted by our government. And it has been mentioned in the constitution that it is the duty of central government to protect its language. Concurrent jurisdiction over vocational and technical training, as well as social and economic planning, which includes comprehensive educational planning at all levels. Which levels? Primary, secondary, higher, technical, vocational, and scientific level. Next, while the states primarily manage education, the union government retains significant influence over the key areas. यहाँ पे it is very important to note that although states have been given some rights to manage education, but all the major decisions, all the major key areas are totally under the control of union government, so that it ensures a balanced approach to national educational objectives. Right? This much is clear to you? All of you are listening? Yes? Okay, thank you. So this was all about the constitutional provisions. You may be asked in the paper that write a detailed note on the constitutional provisions, educational provisions given in the constitution. So in that case, you would have to memorize few of the articles and provisions which are directly connected with the education sector. Next heading is education and finance, center and the state. So here you have to write about the certain schemes and plans which are funded by the central government, or in some cases funded by the state government, right? When a state government develops and implements an educational plan, it considers the financial implications within the framework of the national planning. So all of you are very much aware that whenever we have to conduct any plan, we have to implement certain things. Feasibility criteria, it's always there that what financial resources would be required in that particular plan, how we are going to maintain those uh, financial resources, and how we can go for the optimum utilization of resources without any wastage. Everything is decided under the plan. The discipline suggested by the central government to the states is of two types. Number one, the central government provides financial assistance to the states for educational purposes through two main types of grants. First is centrally sponsored, and second is state executive control schemes. So center जिन schemes को 100% funding करता है, they are like midday meals, सर्व शिक्षा अभियान, ऑपरेशन ब्लैकबोर्ड, इंटीग्रेटेड चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट सर्विसेज जिसको हम ICDS भी बोलते हैं. State executive control schemes में है, these are the grants assisting states in executing schemes under their full executive control. An example is the Charwaha project in the Bihar. Next, financial support mechanism. ठीक है, we have to write about the support mechanism in a country. That first one is matching grants. The central government supports state primary education through matching grants. Backward states receive special grants from the Finance Commission under schemes like relief of educated, unemployed, and expansion of primary education. There are certain schemes जिनके नाम आपको memorize करने हैं while writing this answer. And education of the girl. So to promote girl education, what initiatives have been taken, what schemes and plans have been made, that would be coming under this heading. Then non-formal education schemes, special assistance is provided to cover all children aged 6 to 14 with priority given to the backward states such as Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and Madhya Pradesh. ठीक है, अगली जो बात हो रही है, when we talk about finances, the major body which provides grants and finances for the education sector is UGC, University Grants Commission. Cent percent grants, that means full development and full maintenance funding for the central universities. It takes care of that. Second, matching share grants, funding for state universities based on a matching share basis. And third is specific assistance for improving library and laboratory facilities. This has been done by us in the previous unit also, that it takes care of all the infrastructural facilities in the universities and at college levels also. In special cases, it provides funding for the refresher courses, workshops, seminars, and symposiums also for teachers, and travel grants are also being provided by the University Grant Commission. Next topic is about the central and state government partnership. How they are going to have a partnership while taking financial decisions. A working partnership exists between the central and the state government in education with the following considerations. नंबर वन, बैकवर्ड स्टेट्स. तीन चीजों के आधार पे ये पार्टनरशिप की जाती है. फर्स्ट, backward states. These states often require special central assistance due to unique challenges they face, and they have very limited management capacity too. Second, progressive. These states seek assistance for additional commitments under non-planned activities. They are already progressing, but they want to have funds for the additional commitments which are non-planned. Third, equal distribution, which means that all states should receive their fair share of central funding with additional grants and resources directed to the backward states to minimize the disparities. There are disparities among the states with regard to the allocation of resources, with regard to the access of education. So to minimize those disparities, funds are released by the central government and state government. Next is specific example has been given related to the above topic, that in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, the integrated education for the disabled cell functions under centrally sponsored scheme by the Ministry of HRD. This initiative provides training to the primary school resource teachers, PSRT, who work with the disabled students. So you can mention few of the genuine and appropriate examples also in your answer sheet. Score better marks. Next, we have role of the central government in the financing of education. See, you'll come to see that a few of the topics have been repeated under the different headers. So you just need to focus on the keywords of the question being asked. राइट हो सकता है कि आपको लगे कि ये इंफॉर्मेशन अभी थोड़ी देर पहले तो मैम ने डिस्कस की है, बट अकॉर्डिंग टू क्वेश्चन you would have to focus on the keywords given in the question paper. Since independence, the central government of India has significantly increased its expenditure on education, which contributions to the state government rising substantially. Several key reasons explain this trend. Number one, क्यों दी जाती है फंडिंग, क्यों की जाती है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा? First reason is that constitutional mandate. It has been mentioned in the constitution that it is the responsibility of the central government. That's why they have to provide funds to the states for the primary education of children from 6 to 14. Second, to support backward states to provide them better educational facility. Third, according to the financial capacity of the state, central government is always having greater resources for collecting finances. So equality of opportunities, funds must be released, fund must be used to ensure equality of educational opportunity. Basically, these points have been given, which are saying that why is it important to provide financial help to the states by the center for the expansion of education. So these are very basic questions. You can write in your own way also, but it should be relevant to the question. Next, we have the same thing again, that what are the different kinds of plans which central government sponsored 100%. In few of them, central government participate as an assistant, and in few of them partially financed state program, which अभी हमने थोड़ी देर पहले ही ये डिस्कस किया है, that when we talk about the direct educational functions, the major body is UGC, NCRT, SCRT, and central school organizations. When we talk about fully Alexa, stop. Fully financed state implemented scheme, then Sarv-Shiksha Abhiyan is there, midday meals is there, and integrated child development services is there. Partially financed state programs में कौन से प्रोग्राम आएंगे, जिसमें हम कुछ एग्जांपल्स हमने प्रीवियस क्लास में भी की थी, जैसे महिला समाख्या, so that all are related with the education, but they are partially financed by the partially financed state programs. Next we have role of state governments in financing educational planning. Same topic, but it is mentioned about a taxation system in India. That education in India is primarily the responsibility of states, which bear about 65% of the total educational expenditure. The Finance Commission allocates sufficient resources to each state at the end of each plan period. तीन तरीके से दी जाती हैं जो फंडिंग की जाती है. Number 1, a share in income tax, a share in excise, and lump sum grants in aid. So these are the methods जिसके द्वारा Finance Commission allocates sufficient funds or resources to each state. Okay. Next, state grants to the local bodies for primary education. When we talk about local bodies, that means there are certain educational institutions which are locally providing education to that particular area. So state also provide grants to those bodies. Then necessity of frequent revisions. See, states should meticulously plan their grants and aid schemes by considering the past experiences. And after considering past experiences, they anticipate the future needs of the next 5 years. So then they conduct a comprehensive revision at the end of each 5-year period. Then basis for allocation. Basis for allocation means on which grounds we are going to provide funds to the different states. State grants to the local bodies for primary education should be determined by a mix of proportional grants, special grants for backward areas, and specific purpose grants. Next, discretionary grants. When we want to decide that whether this grant is voluntary or it is compulsory. Next, compulsory versus voluntary education grants. This is again repeated that it has to decide that whether grant is actually required by the state or not. Just hold for one minute. This much is clear to you? Hanji. The central government, primarily through the Ministry of HRD, plays a significant role in India's education sector. This you have to remember that it is always in collaboration with the Ministry of HRD. It is responsible for developing national education policies, regulating standards, and allocating funds to states and the institutions. It oversees central education institutions, standardized school curriculum via NCRT, and then promotes inclusive education for the disadvantaged groups. So this information is a kind of repeat. Additionally, the ministry organizing teacher training supports educational research and innovation. It facilitates international collaborations, regular assessments and evaluations, ensure the effectiveness of educational programs, contributing to a cohesive and comprehensive educational development. So it is saying that it is the duty of state government to conduct various kinds of training programs for the professional developments of teachers also, and also to contribute in the research and innovation. Next, planning. Educational planning is an integral component of overall national planning. The central government sets targets and formulates the educational plan to be implemented nationwide. Educational reforms, when we talk about reforms, it's always on the basis of previous experiences, and reforms are kind of changes which are made for the future growth and development, but it takes care of the loopholes of the previous policies also. So states are then encouraged to implement these expert recommendations, which is called educational reforms. Next, organization. Organization means to implement educational plan, the Government of India established institutions like the AICTE and NCRT. Main work of these institutions is to provide guidance in technical and school education respectively. So they are they are supposed to monitor the activities conducted in the state, and it takes care of that. And on the basis of their report, central further provide grants and aids to the different states. Direction: the central government also directs and guides state governments, local bodies, and private enterprises to ensure that education progresses in the right direction. This is managed by the ministry through the Central Advisory Board of India, which has been discussed in the previous unit, that is CABE, CABE. Next major responsibility of central government is to control state government needing financial assistance for their educational programs seek grants from the central government. By allocating these grants to the states, local bodies, and private agencies, the central government maintains significant control over the education. So all these steps were clearing the thought that how um center is having a major role in planning, organizing, directing, and controlling the education system in the country. Next, equalization of educational opportunity, that clearly says that government always take initiatives or steps to provide equal educational opportunities for the weaker section and for the minority groups. Then pilot projects, when we conduct different kinds of pilot projects, including rural universities, regional institutions, curriculum reforms, and the new textbooks. Whenever we want to study something about a change, government always prefer to conduct a pilot project first. Administration of education in union territories and centrally administrative area. The central government is directly responsible for education in UTs and other centrally administrated areas. Then it has also liaison with the international bodies. It takes care of the different kinds of programs which are initiated by the international cooperation after organized through the Indian National Commission for Cooperation with UNESCO. Promotion of cultural institutions who are there to take care of the culture of our country. Ministry of Education also promotes cultural context nationally and internationally through different programs. Then opening central institutions like Navodaya Vidyalaya and Bal Bhavan are opened and conducted by the Ministry of HRD. This was all about the role of government. Then important organizations in the field of education at the central level. कौन सी संस्थाएं हैं जो जुड़ी हुई हैं सेंट्रल लेवल पे, और ये हम सारी डिटेल इसकी पढ़ चुके हैं इन आर प्रीवियस चैप्टर. सो आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू रीड ऑल दिस, बट आई वुड टेल यू द नेम्स ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. लाइक वी स्टडीड अबाउट CABE, CABE, then UGC, central level educational organization, NCT, which is involved for the teacher education programs, then Kendriya Vidyalaya and Navodaya Vidyalaya. All these institutions or organization are there at the central level. Now just wait for a second. I'm coming to the next slide. Yes. This is about coordination, linkages, cooperation, and networking. Just hold on for a second. हाँ जी. Next unit which we are going to start is Unit 8, that is coordination, linkages, cooperation, and networking. Okay. In our previous chapter, I think that was unit 3 or 4, where we studied about the networking coordination. So it is a kind of repeat in case there is any query you may ask me. In India, education falls under the concurrent list. It has been given in every single chapter in the starting lines. So educational planning faces the challenge of aligning state priorities with the national goals, leading to focus on the decentralization. This isn't new, it has been discussed since independence but gained traction with the National Policy on Education 1986, which advocated for empowering communities in educational management. The major key factor or major key role of NPE was to empower communities in educational management. It proposed setting up local bodies like district boards of education and village education committees for primary education management. Understanding the roles of different state level bodies in educational governments is crucial, as state plays a pivotal role in policy implementation. Collaborative initiatives at the state level have emerged to address this need for effective governance and implementation of educational reforms. This involves examining various state level bodies for their functions in educational governance to ensure a well coordinated and inclusive approach to education across the country. Now, it has been given coordination at the state level. In the early 19th century, various states and union territories in India recognized the importance of education and they established education departments. Initially, educational matters were often handled by other departments alongside their primary functions. The Directorate of Public Instruction, that is DPI, initially held responsible for education assisted by inspectoral staff. Today, each state and UT has its own education department tasked with three main functions. इनके तीन मेन काम होते हैं. First, regulatory, second, operational, and third is directive. Regulatory means when they are supposed to regulate the education system. Operational, when we talk about organizing certain activities, and directive when we talk about giving directions. These functions are carried out through three organs. Number one, the secretariat, two, directorate, and third is inspectorate. Within each state, there are typically three levels of administrations tailored to the size and number of the educational institutions in the state. There's often a functional relationship between these levels, and the types of institutions they oversee through the specifics vary between the states. In some major states, the administrative structure for school education has been divided into separate entities for elementary and for secondary education. Many states have diversified their education departments into distinct bodies for school education and higher education. Furthermore, every state has a directorate of education, although the setup varies. It is Yes, it is provided that some states and UTs like Arunachal Pradesh and Chandigarh have a single directorate overseeing education from primary to higher levels. Next header is set up under the Panchayati Raj institutions. Now we can take a break of 10 minutes, and after that break I'll start with this slide because today's topic a bit smaller and repetition is there, so you can take a break of 10 minutes. Thank you. Hanji, am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So where were we? We were about to start the unit 8 topic set up under Panchayati Raj institutions. And we are talking about the center-state relationships related to the educational development in our country. The 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments mandated the establishment of local bodies at various levels through elected processes, facilitating decentralization. So ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंडर हमारे कंट्री के अंदर लोकल बॉडीज को एस्टैब्लिश किया गया था टू टेक केयर ऑफ द एजुकेशन processes. Education was included in the functions to be devolved to Panchayati Raj institutions, PRIs, empowering them to play a significant role in primary education. So the major responsibility of Panchayati Raj institution was to take care of the primary education in the rural areas. These amendments aimed to enhance accountability and transparency in the education system by involving local communities through PRIs. So the main purpose was to enhance the answerability, accountability of these the education system. Major answerability was related to the utilization of the resources, whether resources provided by the central government are actually used at the grassroots level or not. That was taken care by these agencies, these communities. A special committee of the Central Advisory Board of Education, CABE, formulated a framework for decentralization under PRI framework. It also recommended the establishment of village education committees and panchayat samitis on education. So two more establishment was recommended: village education committees and panchayat samitis on education at the block level to decentralize educational management. However, the actual implementation varied across states due to differing administrative practices and levels of the government commitment. It says that actual implementation of the plans was varied from state to state. Reason being their different practices and different levels of government commitments. In certain states, Panchayati Raj institutions manage education set up to the secondary level, while other like Gujarat and Delhi oversee elementary and primary education respectively. District education officers typically operate under the jurisdiction of the relevant local body. The 73rd Amendment Act includes a three-tier system of local governance, including village panchayat, panchayat smitis, and Jilla parishads, which delegate powers related to the education, including primary and secondary schooling, to Panchayati Raj bodies. Urban local bodies like municipalities and municipal corporations are empowered by the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, allowing them to take over government schools and staff, with recruitment typically managed by the state designed organization. So it was allowed them to take off the government schools and staff with recruitment typically managed by the state designed organization. Next, we have village level management and structure. Parallel system of educational governance has emerged alongside Panchayati Raj institutions as various educational programs and projects have necessitated the establishment of village and other committees. In states like Tamil Nadu, parent teacher association, that is known as PTAs, hold constitutional status and are entrusted with managing school facilities, while village education officer, that is VECs, they play active roles in district where district primary education programs operate. So you would have to memorize the hierarchy of the people who are involved there, and hierarchy of the system which are there in the educational management under this chapter. National policies such as National Policy on Education 1986 and the POA, that is Program of Action 1992, they have underscored the importance of local communities in school improvement efforts. Envisioning VECs, that is Village Education Committees, with the diverse community representation to oversee educational programs at the village level. These bodies includes by the CAPE Committee, wheeled powers ranging from school visits to the budget recommendations. It also serves as a quasi-legal entities for local education government. So they were given responsibilities related to the school visits also, and to give budget recommendations also. Next, initiatives like Lok Jumbish and the Siksha Karmi project, it mobilized village communities to ensure quality education, with VECs playing vital role in uh, resource mobilization and infrastructure management. Resource mobilization, that how we are going to mobilize the resources among the different spheres of the school or the education system, and in which particular area we are going to optimally utilize that particular resource. Their positive impact extends to empowering locally elected representatives, particularly women, while collaborating with district and state bodies ensures comprehensive support for primary education. So, after this, thus these parallel systems complement PRI's functions, enabling grassroots engagement and addressing systematic challenges in India's educational landscape. So, role of Panchayati Raj has been explained under this heading with the help of uh, different community programs also. Next, ensuring linkages and networking, the role of non-government organization. Now we would be studying about the role of NGOs. NGOs in India have increasingly become integral to educational planning, spurred by the government policies encouraging their participation in the social development of the nation. The 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments have their role alongside local bodies and communities in universalization of the elementary education. So basically, the main principle of NGOs is the welfare maximization. They are not like private organization which focus on the maximization of the profits. They are working, or they work on the grounds of welfare maximization. The NGOs are valued for their grassroots connections and innovative approaches, often working closely with the communities to address educational needs, especially among marginalized groups of the society. While they primarily influence administration and maintenance decisions, their involvement in the pedagogy and curriculum remains limited, because that is an expert area, and the people who are already having expertise in curriculum framing and pedagogies and methods, they do that. So NGOs would be having a limited involvement in that. State governments have established autonomous societies to implement educational programs, often in collaboration with the NGOs. This partnership has led to successful initiatives like Digantar, improving infrastructure and access to the education. So, जो state government है, they have also established certain societies to implement the educational program with the collaboration of NGOs. NGOs play a vital role in mobilizing resources. They also develop infrastructure, they provide training, and they promote community involvement. Also, they try to involve community people also in different kinds of initiatives. Their experiences offer valuable insight for governments and community participation in education at the local level, contributing to social inclusion and developmental efforts. So the major keyword in the working of NGO here is community participation. Unless and until community comes forward to take participation for the different kinds of social issues and initiatives, their efforts would be comparatively unutilized. Other supporting directorates, departments, and advisory bodies. This is the next heading of your study material. In this, we have to explain the different departments. So, in addition to the main education department, various states and union territories have supporting directorates and departments responsible for specific aspects of education. These entities handle diverse responsibilities such as curriculum development, teacher training, examination management, and educational technology. So there are different kinds of duties which are assigned to these departments, like how we are going to make a curriculum, what things we have to add, what we have to revise in the curriculum, and what about teacher training, what kind of training should be provided to the teachers, in service teacher, pre-service teacher, for their professional development. How are we going to how are we going to conduct examination nicely? What kind of assessment and evaluation strategies would be used? Everything, for every reason, there are certain different departments. Additionally, several advisory bodies exist to provide guidance and oversight on different educational matters. These advisory bodies may focus on areas like policy formulation, quality assurance, research, and development, and the integration of technology in education. How are we going to integrate technology at all the levels of education, whether it is primary, secondary, higher, or university education? Together, these supporting entities and advisory bodies contributed to the comprehensive governance and development of education across different regions. Next, we have in addition to education departments, states and union territories often have supporting directorates responsible for various educational tasks. These include entities like Directorate of Mass Education or Adult Education and Non-Formal Education, which oversee adult and non-formal education programs. Some states merge these responsibilities with the Directorate of School Education. For example, in Madhya Pradesh, the Directorate of Panchayat and Social Welfare handles adult and non-formal education. Most major states also have boards of secondary education. Beyond the education department, other government departments also manage educational institutions. For example, in Orissa, the welfare department oversees education for the scheduled caste and tribes, and they focus on opening schools in the tribal areas and providing incentives. Similarly, in Tamil Nadu, the Adi Dravidar Welfare Department, they run school for the marginalized communities. So you can mention about the few of the names of different kinds of community which are there to support education department. Various departments across states such as technical education, medical and health, agriculture, commerce and industry, and cooperative departments hold educational responsibility within their domains. Next. Advisory boards and bodies. The National Policy on Education 1986 proposed the establishment of Districts Board of Education, that is DBE, to coordinate educational activities at the district level. However, DBEs have not been implemented to the date. Currently, most states have a state level advisory board covering primary, secondary, and higher education. For example, in Gujarat, the Advisory Board of Education comprises of the different bodies. Like they have Gujarat Educational Advisory Body, they have Gujarat State Council of Higher Education, they have Gujarat Secondary Education Board and State Education board, and others which oversee different aspects of the education system. Following the model of CABE, that is Central Advisory Board of Education, at the national level, some states have established state education advisory boards to provide policy guidance. Similarly, akin to the National Council of Educational Research and Training, that is NCRT, nearly all the states have formed State Council of Educational Research and Training. SCRT, therefore, states typically have two types of academic institution every state. Number one, conventional institutions established by the state government, such as the Board of School Education and the English Language Teaching Training Institution, operating under the administrative jurisdiction of the State Education Department. And second, institutions established within the state through centrally sponsored schemes. Uh, where we talked about the government of India during the post-independence period. These include entities like the State Institute of Education (SIEs), State Council of Educational Research (SCRT), then District Resource Unit, then DIET, and SITE. So these are the institutions which are centrally sponsored. Next, we have state publication textbook boards. Many states establish state publication textbook boards under the State Department of Education to enhance education. So their main purpose is to publish good material, especially at the elementary and secondary levels, by producing high quality textbooks and instructional material. These boards also conduct evaluation and research to improve school curriculum. In some states, such as Assam, the Textbook Production and Publication Board operates as an autonomous organization established in 1972. State Board of Secondary Education and Higher Secondary Council. First, we talked about state publication. Now, State Board of Secondary Education and Higher Secondary Council. They conduct examination for the 10th and 12th grades. They manage curriculum, exams, and school recognition. Some states divide their boards for primary and secondary education, like Andhra Pradesh and Bihar. West Bengal has separate board for primary, secondary, and higher secondary education. State boards handle curriculum, while district councils oversee teacher appointments and discipline. So duties have been allocated to them. High schools and senior secondary schools are managed by the elected committees. State boards of secondary education, they manage syllabus, regulations, and class 10th exams, with similar structure for the senior secondary and college education. Next, the role of SCRT has been given. During the 1960s, SIEs were established to enhance the management of state education program, focusing on improving education quality, teacher training, inspection, research, and coordination with the NCRT. Presently, most states have either converted to SIEs and SCRTs or established SCRT alongside existing SIEs. SCRTs were set up in accordance with the NCRT model following the 1986 policy. Then the major focus was to decentralize functions related to the quality education, research, and training. Under SCRT, District Institution of Education and Training DIETs were established. This all hierarchy have been discussed in the previous units also, so I'm going through it. Extending the network to district level. SCRT structure and capabilities varies across states. They range from autonomous organization to the directorates with differing staffing patterns. For instance, SCRT Delhi operates autonomously under the Society Registration Act in 1988, and it oversees diets across 9 revenue districts. SCRTs conduct in-service teacher trainings, organize workshop, and affiliate private institutions for teacher education courses. They coordinate state-level programs. They conduct training. They are into promotion of the research, develop a curriculum, and advise the government on education policies. SCRTs also oversee material development, research, and resource support for initiatives like Universal Elementary Education Mission, contributing to the overall improvement of education quality and training both at the state and the district levels. After SCRT, all these are coming under the heading of advisory boards and bodies in the state. Next, we have English Language Teaching Institutes. They were established to enhance the teaching of English as a second language in the schools. These institutions offer training programs for school level English teachers, focusing on modern teaching techniques and development of the English teaching. Then, DIETS, District Institution of Education and Training. Major objective of these institutes was to take care of key functions like pre-service and in-service education to the elementary school teachers, offering training and continuing education to the non-formal and adult education instructors and supervisors, and operating as a resource and learning center for teacher and instructors. Additionally, DIET conduct action research and experiments to enhance educational practices. While diets are established under centrally sponsored schemes, their major objective, functions, and staffing patterns align with the national norms. However, the selection and recruitment of staff follow the procedures set up by the respective state government. Next, we have State Institute of Educational Management and Training. This concept was developed based on the nationwide consultation and modeled after the National University of Educational Planning and Administration, that is NUPA. However, the establishment of SIEMT didn't materialize until the 1990s. These institutions were created to ensure the effective implementation of initiatives like district primary education program. So for this reason, to ensure the effective implementation of district primary education program, this institute was established. By enhancing capacity at the various levels, implementing an objective educational management information system, and conducting utility oriented research and evaluation studies. It organized training and orientation workshops for educational planners at the different administrative levels, including state, district, block, and village clusters. They also engaged with the functionaries of the other departments indirectly associated with the school education, such as those from the women and child development and tribal welfare departments. Several states, including Himachal Pradesh, Maharashtra, Odisha, and Uttar Pradesh, they have established State Institute of Educational Management and Training to fulfill these objectives. Right? So this was all about the Unit 7 and Unit 8. Now, as we have enough time, I would like to give you one little assignment for which I'm going to give you time also. Let me just switch on the Yes. Are you there, all of you? You all are from different states. I suppose that all the students are from different states. So what you have to do in your assignment, that you have to write the initiatives taken by the government, central government and state government in your area for the promotion of education. Again, write down the questions. Write down this question which we are going to discuss after some time. You have to write about the different initiatives. I hope you all are writing. you have to write about the different initiatives taken, started by in government in your state government, for the promotion of education in your area. If you are aware about some central sponsored schemes also in your state, you can mention the names of that also. Is this clear to you, or should I repeat the question? Yes, is this clear to you? Because we are going to discuss these points after some time. Okay, thank you so much for your responses. Now, take your notebook and write down the names of certain schemes or programs which are there in your state, and for the promotion of educational development. Okay, I'm giving you some time. We have till 20 because both our units have been finished, unit 7 and unit 8, which I was supposed to do this. So now we would be going by this activity. Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Yes, anyone who has joined late, please tell me your name. I'll mark your attendance.
Yes, ma'am. Archana Bhatt. I joined very late today. There was an internet problem at my residence.
Okay. And Meenu was also not there earlier, and one more student is there. Jyots.
Yes, Jyotsna Agre. I also joined late.
Okay.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I also joined late. It's Varsha.
Your name?
It's Varsha Vandita Pani.
Varsha. Okay. I hope you all are writing points because we are going to discuss in 5-7 minutes.
Ma'am, excuse me, Meenu here. Please take attendance for me also.
I have mentioned your name, Meenu.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, one more thing, ma'am, is your network was not at all clear. Please, can you repeat the question once?
What was not clear?
Voice
Yes.
was not at all clear, ma'am. Can you once repeat the question, please?
Okay, repeat the question. ओके कमल जी बताएंगे क्या क्वेश्चन दिया है मैंने यस यस कमल जी बताइए मीनू जी को क्या क्वेश्चन दिया है
Ma'am, question was different initiatives taken or started by government in your state for the promotion of education in India.
ठीक है मीनू जी आई होप नाउ शी हैज
Yes, ma'am.
okay start writing the points and we are discussing it by switching on your videos.
This is a Just let me know you're done with the remark.
हाँ जी so shall we start it's 12:31 shall we start with the discussion part I would be taking names and you'll have to switch on your video and then you need to tell your points. Okay, first of all, Kamal.
Ma'am, I want to highlight certain schemes which are related to different levels of education. For
You're from which
example,
state? Kamal, you're from which state?
hello.
You are residing in which state?
At present, I'm in Patiala.
Okay. हाँ जी बताइए.
Ma'am, I want to highlight certain schemes which are related to school education as well as higher education. First of all, midday meal scheme, which is meant for elementary education to increase retention as well as enrollment at elementary stage. But nowadays, Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, which has merged Ramsa as well as SSA, has been initiated by Government of India. and Uchittar Sikya Abhiyan, which is related to higher education. All these schemes mainly focus on access, equity, as well as quality of school, as well as higher education. But the one scheme which is related to Punjab government, that is My Bhago's scheme for it is related to cycle, which is distributed to the girl students to increase their enrollment at the school level. But majority of schemes which I mentioned, these are center sponsored.
Okay. ठीक है जी. Thank you so much, Kamal.
Okay, ma'am.
Next student, Barsa. Barsa is from which state?
Ma'am, I'm from Odisha.
Okay, Barsa, kindly switch on your video and tell me your points. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. I thought you told about the education promotion in your area. So I went through and do some research in Odisha government. So as per the Department of School and Mass Communication, they have a few schemes. Under that, the first one is State Institution of Open School. That they the mission for that open school is for the dropped out girl, women, or SC/ST students, basically from rural and urban areas. Those are like due to like getting a job and for their livelihood, they used to drop out the school. For them, they open the schools, and for this and for that, it is handled by the chairman of OPIPA, and the second one is Mo School, that is done by our CM like Navin Patnaik only. So it is
Sorry, second one is, what was the
Mo
name of?
School, Mo School, my school. So
Okay.
so it is done by our CM. So it will be coming under 5T that now going on, and they try to develop all the schools. They have to provide uh, every types of gadgets and smart boards and all to the school, so that it will be helpful. The same way it will be helping for the private school students nowadays. And then the third one is free cycle scheme, that is like ma'am told in the previous previous discussion. Then there is another scheme for Jilla Parishad teachers and Shiksha Sahayak, appointments for Jilla Parishad teachers and Shiksha Sahayak under again SSA. And another one is a school support scheme, that is for 8-year mandatory elementary education for the group of 6 to 14 years students, mainly for SC/ST girls. And
Okay.
yeah, and another one is the school support scheme that they come up with in 2010, and under that they appointed retired government school teachers. It is basically for the government schools. They appointed the retired teachers, so they can be available all the time through phone. So school support system means it will be a calling scheme for them to try or seeking help, or they are getting confused for certain reason, they are unable to contact the school and all, so they can contact this particular fixed teachers, and they can get all the advice, and these teachers can monitor them. So for
This
them
is a
also,
very thoughtful initiative, because they are able to utilize experience of those retired teachers
yeah,
also in
yes.
the functioning.
So this is a school support call scheme. So it started in 2010.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much. Thank you so much, Varsha. Next. Hanji, Sunil. Yes, Sunil ji is there. Yes. Thank you, sir. Hanji.
I'm residing in Uttar Pradesh. The Uttar Pradesh government has taken several initiatives to improve the quality of primary education in the state. Following Diplomat Mission, Operation Kayakbal, समेकित शिक्षा, सामुदायिक सहभागिता, and girls education equality.
The very first you
And
told, sir. The very first one was
Nippon Bharat.
Nippon Bharat. Okay. ठीक है जी.
Yes, ma'am.
Any
And the
one.
then for higher education, they have taken the initiative in 2013 by starting Rashtriya Uchchatar Shiksha Abhiyan. It's a central government sponsored scheme launched by the government of India. The aim of providing financial assistance to higher education institutes to improve the quality and increase their access to higher education. That's all, ma'am.
Sir, any one scheme which you are thinking is different from other schemes which has been discussed? Because Ramsa, Rusa, I have discussed in my presentation. Any one scheme by UP government which have not been discussed? The very
That is not
first you
Nipun
said.
Bharat.
Nipun
The
Bharat.
Nipun Bharat. The aim for of this scheme is to make sure by 2026 to 2027 every child must read and count, at least read and count. This is the scheme launched by the state government.
Okay.
It was not for counseling.
ठीक है जी, thank you so much Sunil ji. Next Chandrika. Chandrika is there. Okay, Jyotsna.
Yes, ma'am. I think in Gujarat there are some schemes that has opened for tribals. That is Eklavya Model Residential School (EMRS).
You are from which state, Jyotsna?
Vadodara. Sorry, Gujarat.
Okay, you are in Gujarat, right?
Yeah. So these schools provide education for tribal children, and they have set up 36 this institute for tribal children. And
Okay.
in addition to that, they have opened one more scheme for the girls of tribal girls. And they also focuses on strengthening the education among tribal girls. And it is again supported by the
Eklavya scheme is Jyotsna. This Eklavya scheme is centrally sponsored or state sponsored?
state sponsored.
State sponsored. Okay, okay. ठीक है जी, thank you so much.
Yeah.
हाँ जी, next Archana ji.
Yes, ma'am. One second, I'll just switch on the video.
Archana ji, you are from which state?
I'm from Gujarat, Vadodara.
Okay.
Ma'am, what Jyotsna has shared, I would like to add to that. In tribal areas, there are, by now, there are more than 25,000 girls who have been enrolled, and they have been doing great. There are also NGOs who support them to, give the skill development. So they go for these daycare training, then housemaid trainings, and many other things. So, and then they are employed. Now, this is a government collaboration under this Skill India, and they authorize the NGOs who support these girls. Besides this, there is a very large project taken up, which is called Mission School of Excellence, in which the government has taken an initiative of increasing and developing the infrastructure of 20,000 schools.
Okay.
This project was started on 5th September 2021, and the implementation time they had put was 1,500 days, and the coverage was 56 lakh students.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, and it is the India's largest education project, and the budget is of 1.4 billion US dollars. And this project is funded by World Bank and Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. So this is, as far as I know, this is the largest project in the country, and it is taking
Can
up
you please
shape.
repeat? Can you please repeat the name of that project? What was that?
Mission School of Excellence. Basically, they are building School of Excellence across the state.
Okay, okay. And this is a state-sponsored scheme or central?
Yeah, it is a state-sponsored scheme, but the funding is from the World Bank and Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Archana ji. Thank you. Next, we have Mahima. Yes, Mahima.
Ma'am, I am from Rajasthan.
From?
Jaipur, Rajasthan.
Okay.
Mukhyamantri Nishulk Coaching Yojana. In this Yojana, the government provide free coaching for IIT, IIM, I am law national level medical students and engineering
मेडिकल
students.
स्टूडेंट्स को फ्री कोचिंग दी जाती है. ओके. This scheme is state funded.
Yes, ma'am.
ओके, ठीक है जी.
And
और बताइए.
parents income should not be more 2.5 lakhs.
Okay, that is the like eligibility criteria for those students. Okay. और बताइए इसके
And
अलावा.
second is e-education tools like robotics labs. 200 schools में जो latest technical fields है वो develop की जा रही है.
Okay, very good.
Midday
Any other
meal,
you have?
midday meal to all students of class 1st to 8th.
ठीक है जी. सो अब एक जनरल क्वेश्चन है आप सब से. ठीक है, ये तो है गवर्नमेंट के इनिशिएटिव्स जिसमें सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट आर कमिंग फॉरवर्ड. इफ वी जस्ट टॉक्ड अबाउट द कम्युनिटी पार्टिसिपेशन इन आवर टुडेज लेक्चर. ठीक है, कम्युनिटी पार्टिसिपेशन में ये कहा गया था दैट कम्युनिटी शुड कम फॉरवर्ड टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ सच इनिशिएटिव्स. सो इन जनरल कोई भी मुझे जस्ट ये बताइए कि आप बीइंग अ पार्ट ऑफ कम्युनिटी किस तरीके से कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं फॉर द अपलिफ्टमेंट ऑफ एजुकेशन. एनीवन? It's just a random question to all of you. Anyone can answer. आपका क्या योगदान रह सकता है? Please. Yes.
Volunteering.
Yes. Volunteers. Being volunteers.
Supporting say whatever manner, either by providing educational support or funding, or maybe providing money for uniforms or physical this contribution. I am aware of few people who are actually, the schools are located in a very distant areas. So I'm aware of a group in Vadodara who actually once in a week go and deliver meals. They don't
Okay.
give money, but they cook at home and then they take meals to the school.
That's a very
That
good
is,
initiative.
yeah, that is and it is home cooked meal, and every week the menu is different. So that
Okay.
kind of contribution also can be done by providing sports funding or maybe sports equipments. I mean, there are many ways a person can contribute to this cause.
Very right. Thank you so much, Archana ji. Anyone else in the class? See, only finances doesn't matter. If your physical presence is making some difference in life of some underprivileged or minority group student for the education development, that matters a lot. If you are working in here in Chandigarh, we have a few teachers. I know many of the teachers who work in the daytime. They are working in their respective jobs where they are earning, but in the evening they are going for the free classes to the slum areas or underprivileged students, below poverty line families in this here in our country. So it doesn't matter you are providing financial help to someone, your physical help, your presence or your involvement would be of much what word should I say, that it would be more contributing towards the upliftment of those kids. I hope all of you agree with this.
Yes, ma'am. Even I am Jain, and we have a group.
Who is speaking? Mahima? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ जी,
Ma'am,
बताइए.
I am Jain, and we have a group Terapanth professionals, and we have a group for मेधावी छात्र, like excellent students जो backward हैं जो हमारी society में, उनको हम yearly 1,313 students को 21,000 का देते हैं हम.
Help देते हैं, financial help देते हैं. That's really good. That's really good. Thank you so much, dear students, and I'm very glad to know कि आप सारे अलग अलग states से हैं यहाँ पे. So ये मेरी class का सबसे जो ये interaction वाला part होता है, this is my favorite part, because otherwise everything has been provided to you. Study material is there. I need to just explain and elaborate that material to you and give it in the question form. But this part is my favorite in all the classes when we do interact. So kindly switch on your video for a second, and after that we'll wind up the class. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you. Everything is being for the record purposes. So that's why I need to tell you to switch on your videos. Otherwise, it's not compulsory, but it is only for the record purposes. We have to take pictures of the class. Thank you so much. Now you may leave, and tomorrow again we'll meet at the same time. Thank you.